years ago looking, yeah.
She didn't.
Yeah.
Now. The way the political climate is, you're not gonna get any type of social service stuff, it's infrastructure. Not even the
Yeah.
military.
It's just gonna be heads
Chaos.
down until
Yeah.
they look.
Should I hit start?
No,
Do I just start recording it to the cloud?
it'll be a while.
Yeah.
It will be a while. Yes.
So my recording.
But I don't like.
They just disappeared? No.
Yeah.
Oh,
So this, and this 2025.
No, so we're,
World Trade Center will be.
participating.
They will be building it hopefully before then, and they will hopefully have sold,
In supporting.
one parcel, you know, the Virgin Records, it's Virgin Records. Virgin- Yeah. So.
Still, I can try. Yeah.
So for you to get a building permit, that would be an issue.
Well, the thing is,
Until that's finished, the infrastructure.
see, the thing is,
For those in
my approval was done before all that took place.
I know, it doesn't matter.
That it's there, so he's gonna go check.
For those of you in the Zoom room, we're waiting just for folks
If
to
you're
come
looking
in,
for
so.
equipment to build now,
Hang tight.
they're gonna be a.
I got quiet.
Good to see you, Noel.
It's nice to see you too. It has been a little while. Oh my goodness. You know what? I didn't recognize you for a minute. It's been a minute. How's it going?
Good.
What are you doing here?
I'm just gonna show you my clients, so I've been going.
There, just like, he meant to send it to you.
2016.
Okay.
We're back almost 10 years.
Yes.
Can I just see who's in the room first? Before we go to that?
Yes. No. Yeah.
That's right, and so Lori and you are getting into good trouble.
Definitely, yes, lots to get into. So we operate out of the building next door and we do all the composting for National Restaurant. We're looking for, well, eventually we won't need that. Yes.
We need that right now.
You need it. Yeah.
We're gonna start our program.
What's your name?
Armand.
That's right. Yeah.
So we're gonna start our program probably May.
June first.
Yeah, and then we'll be in virtual adult.
Yeah. That's right.
We're ready to go.
Cool.
And we're gonna start teaching classes and all that good stuff.
And you guys are gonna be the ones with purchasing biochar machine. Or is that?
No, it's not.
That's not.
All we're gonna do is just educate the residents like plastic.
I got it.
Then we're gonna go, then I'm gonna.
I just saw you on Saturday, forget it.
Go behind them. Okay,
Yes,
you guys-
Zach, yeah.
Maybe.
How are you?
I've been beat up.
Buy them chairs.
Yeah, well, did you have
Whatever.
staff,
Yeah.
show up on Saturday,
The trailer
or
was-
did they call?
Saturday I did,
Yep.
Sunday I
And then the
did.
truck squad, the
Oh.
trailer was all the tools and stuff.
Yeah.
8 hours straight.
Oh,
The
goodness.
staff, help the
Yeah.
residents
It's a long day.
all the way around.
Yeah, it was 13
That's,
hours,
yeah,
13 hours,
fantastic.
8
You
hours.
wanna have a
Oh,
card?
my goodness.
No,
Yeah, that's
So,
nice.
but we should definitely connect.
No, on Friday, you were rough,
Did
you
you
eating
say-
cereal with a fork, I'm like, are you okay?
Just write down. Here's my email. Just get my notes on the back.
Yeah, I got you.
It's not just about, it's mostly if people don't, like, no call them, you know?
Yeah.
Just go ahead and put you in here.
No, it's like.
There's a couple
Sitting
seats.
here, that's for
Yeah.
No, I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was asking if you were gonna be here.
Yeah, okay.
How are you? Good, good.
I was given the same way, but I
Pretty brave.
Yeah, fun to hear.
I know, I don't know, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe just relax.
I was really so good.
Take sugar. He's the first one.
Are you? Oh, really?
Sugar.
Oh, wow.
Introductions.
I think it was my program.
And then.
And then how the whole presentation is all shared and shares of each through that. And then mine.
Why don't we go ahead and get started? So welcome, everybody. We're so glad you're here. Thank you for joining us tonight. For those of you in the Zoom room, glad you could be here as well. We've got food, great food from one of our neighborhood, businesses.
Yeah, so we've got Katrina Grill, Sylvia, she catered our event today and she's part of the 80216 community.
So, just before we make introductions, I just wanted to go over the agenda with you and then we'll go to the. We're gonna go through the agenda and then we'll come back around. So just so everybody is just settling in, the agenda today is gonna include updates from about the equestrian center and the hotel. Lori's gonna talk about a lot of activities that are happening at the National Western Center. Community updates, including, the Nwca with Marcy and CSU Spur with Eduardo. The Denver Police Department is also coming in to talk about, their neighborhood efforts, as well as Armando is gonna talk to us about UCAN, so, and we'll have time for public comment. But, before we start the agenda, maybe we'll turn over to Lori, and Lori, would you like to start?
Yes, so I am so excited everybody showed up today. It's so beautiful outside, so good choice being here, not outside, no, just joking, but just wanted to see if we could go around the table, introduce ourselves and just kind of our community connection with the CAC and kind of go from there. Also, we do have a sign-in sheet for people in person as well as a online. If you could put in the chat your name and your email address, that would be really, really good for me, just so I can track and know who I'm communicating to and then be able to share out any updates that we have after this meeting. So I'll start. Lori Larita, and I'm Community Events and Outreach. I forgot my title. Community Events and Outreach Manager, and I focus on the 80216 community.
I'm Gina. I'm the Marketing Communications Coordinator, and I do the newsletters, social media.
Jared Hopewich, Development Manager with the Authority.
And I'm Marcy Lochran. I am communications with the Mayor's Office of the National Western Center. And I've been, did you ask us one more question? Like, I think I've been working with this community and this project since 2017.
And to Marcy's credit, I'll do a testimonial. She's done outstanding work. Armando Mayan from World of 80216.
We had talked about Armando walking in like with interpret dance, but he went and did it.
I've seen you do some interpret.
Yeah.
And he's got some moves. He's in a band, like he's automatically cool. Right? I can't hold his hand.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nwca Kaplan. I'm the Executive Director for Compost Colorado. We operate next door, focused on organic waste diversion around the Denver area and soil restoration here in GES. And excited to be a collaborator in this room and with this group.
I'm Brad Buchanan. I'm the CEO here at the Authority. And my connection started, I was the planning director for Denver before this position. And I was at the Stanley Hotel in 2014 when we had the first charrette, concept charrettes that Gretchen set up at the Stanley Hotel. Back in the day, there was, I don't know, 60 or 70 of us that were up there.
Yeah.
So it's really super fun to go from, you know, a lot of arm waving and big thoughts. They're like, we're gonna open some stuff up. It's awesome.
That's awesome.
Slavica Park, I'm with CRL Associates and also representing National Western Stock Show. My connection started in 2016 when I worked at Focus Points Family Resource Center up here in Swansea. And I joined CSA, Community Advice, CAC, what am I saying? CAC, it's been a long time.
Community supported
She needs to
agriculture.
leave this
That's-
meeting.
Yeah, I started working on this project in a different capacity in 2016 and been engaged ever since.
And I'm Catherine Archuleta, I'm your facilitator, and I've been working as a facilitator with the National Western Center Authority. This is my third year.
And Sandra Ruiz Parrilla, Global resident. And connection to what? Here?
Just your connection to CAC and the community.
Oh, okay, well, I'm resident here.
And entrepreneur.
Member?
This little thing.
My name is Eduardo Gonzalez. I work for CSU Spur as the community engagement person there. I've been doing this for about a year.
Hi, everyone. I'm Steve Daly. I'm the Chief Real Estate Officer at the National Western Center Authority. And I started working in these communities in about 2008.
You beat me.
Yeah,
Wow.
I was just an unpaid intern at the time at the city of Denver, the city planner. But then that moved into station selection location for the North Metro. Landed at 48th and Brighton, and then we were working on a station area plan for 48th and Brighton. And we had two alternatives. One, if the stock show leaves town, and two, if the stock show stays. And so we stopped that effort. And that's when Mayor Hancock said in around 2011, hold on, we're keeping stock show here. And that's what kicked off several efforts, including the neighborhood plans and the master plan.
Thank you.
And then maybe if we could just go around the screen, I'm gonna just point out who's coming up, and then we can do an introduction. Who I see first is Ruiz. It comes up on the screen.
Hello, I apologize, my screen, my camera's not working on my computer. So attach that, but I am.
We can't hear you.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Now.
Okay. Hi, I'm technician Hannah Ruiz. I'm the community resource officer out of District 2 Denver Police. I am attached to this community. I was born and raised in Denver, and I actually grew up in Swansea. So I've been attached to this community since then, and now I work for the Denver Police Department in this district. I also have my partner with me, Isabella Cervantes, and she'll introduce herself. Again, I apologize for the camera.
Hi, I'm Isabella Cervantes. I'm one of the other community resource officers out here in District 2. I'm just jumping on this meeting just to kind of listen in and meet everyone, I guess, virtually, because the last time we were out there, I was actually on vacation. But primarily, I'm the community resource officer for Sector 2 in District 2, which is everything east of Colorado Boulevard. So primarily like the East Colfax corridor. That's the area that Mike Borquez, who's our other partner, who's actually on vacation right now. That's the area that we handle. So yeah, just jumping on this meeting with Hannah, just kind of listen in because we were invited by Lori to attend.
Awesome, thank you so much. And then I've got a portion in the community updates that if you guys could report on, that would be amazing. And then next on my screen is Brian.
Hey everyone, Brian Perry. Like Marcy, I'm with the Mayor's Office of the National Western Center, and I am the GES Program of Projects Project Manager. So my connection to the community is I work for the city, for the Mayor's Office to help to coordinate all of the various amazing construction projects that are happening throughout GES. So trying to bring everybody together, trying to be a single point of truth for all of these projects and collect information so that we can keep the community and community informed and help to mitigate issues that might arise from overlap of projects or conflicts between different projects. So
Is that residential, commercial, or just city projects only?
it's nothing residential. It's everything city and then larger private development projects.
Okay, thank you.
Something like 4995 Washington will be starting here pretty soon. We're tracking what does their construction efforts look like? What are their haul routes? How is that going to intersect with the Washington Street development? And then working with all of those teams. I feel like I'm yelling, but Francisco, you should be really happy about that. You see it. So keeping that all coordinated because you can see everybody will pull a different MHP and where are the detours, and if you obviously but you drive around the neighborhood, you can get vehicle locked really quickly, and that's what we want to avoid. So
Nice.
that's why I'm yelling.
Speaking of the 4995 Washington, it is officially been renamed 4965 Washington.
I'm never gonna remember that. I know.
Thank you for that. And then next in queue, we've got Rick.
I'm working on that project. I did some real estate science.
Good evening. I'm Rick Rivera from Partner Colorado Credit Union. I'm the Community Relations Manager, and I became involved by sponsoring events and activities at the National Western Center, as well as focus points. So we've maintained just a community alliance for events and activities. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Christina Garcia from Birdseed.
Hi, I'm Christina Garcia. I'm from Birdseed Collective. We're the nonprofit that runs the Global Recreation Center.
Thank you. Oh. So we've got Angela Garcia.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Angela Garcia. First, I'm a Groville resident. And secondly, I'm a member of the Community Investment Fund. Thank you.
Thank you. And then Becca.
Hi, everybody. I'm Becca. I'm a Groville resident, and I'm also a part of Gloville First.
Thank you. And Jessica.
Oh, hello, I'm Jessica Nakeen. I'm with the GES Coalition and the GES Tenants Union.
Thank you. Then I think we have everybody. Am I missing? Oh, Shannon, I've got you on the bottom. Sorry.
And AE.
And yeah, so obviously I'm missing that.
All good. I'm Shannon Hoffman. I am the project manager for the GES Community Investment Fund.
Thank you, Shannon. And then could we go to AE?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, this is Ann Elizabeth. I'm embedded in households in Globeville and Elyria, so I've got a tug of war going on. Steve, you mentioned that you landed here 2008, and I remember sitting with you at a table over at Groundwork Denver. I'm trying to remember what that was. Let's not discuss it.
2013.
Was that 2013? That was okay. So slightly before the neighborhood planning process started, I landed in Globeville and have been on some form or another embedded in this process over the years and from a variety of coordinates. AE is fine.
Thank you so much. And then we have Bianca.
Hi, everyone. I'm the vice president at Fengate. We had the privilege of last year, in May, being awarded the pre-development contract for the Equestrian Center and Hotel project at the National Western. So leading the team here for Fengate, that is the Community Activation Partners team. Thank you.
Thank you. And then we have Claudia.
Hi, this is Claudia from Focus Points. I am the Family and Community Resource Specialist. We actually have an event going on today, and it's for legal night here at Focus Points. So I'm kind of just listening in today.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
So if we go to our next slide, just to remind everybody that the CAC spent a good portion of its organizational time a couple of years ago thinking about our values and really what we're committed to doing. And that slide is coming up in just a second. So the CAC committed to working together through respect and trust, openness and transparency, encouraging others to share and inspire and be open to new ideas. We know that collaboration and cooperation are critical to what we do, even as we face a number of different realities in the community each day. We also work by consensus whenever there is a decision, that would be on the next slide, that really defines how we make decisions really around consensus, having good discussions, being transparent, being open, and hearing everybody else's voice, and then being able as a group to make a consensus. So just reminders of how we operate. We went through the agenda already. The first item on our agenda was the Equestrian Center and Hotel, and the task force updates.
All right. Hi, everyone. Steve Nally, again with the authority. I'm just pulling up slide deck. So bear with me here. All right. So the topics I'd like to cover tonight for the Equestrian Center Hotel Parking Garage project, just provide a project and site overview, orient folks to the site that are new to it, discuss the proposed workforce housing component that we mentioned last time we met, walk you through renderings. Some of you have seen these renderings before. Discuss the project support agreement. I'll tell you what that is in a bit, and then we'll talk about schedule and next steps. So this is the site in the red line. Within the red line, to the top of the map is National Western Drive. To the top right is where 51st Avenue comes over the river and ties into National Western Drive. Off the map to the top is the riverfront open space. To the far right be the stockyards. To the bottom of the map, very bottom, is the new livestock center. The water tower that everyone can see from the surrounding areas is number 25 on the map. That's right at the bottom. The main campus plaza between livestock center and is between livestock center and the equestrian center, and then CSU Spur Vita is just off to the left of the map. So what you're seeing here is the first floor of the project. This includes an arena, warm-up paddocks, stables, loading area. There's community space that we've discussed quite a bit with this group. It's number 21 to the top of the map. 22 is a greenhouse. Number 14, which is kind of center right, and just abutting the stables building, that's the proposed hotel. The Armor Administration Building, which is a landmark structure on the site, is number 11. Kind of right in the middle of the plaza there. And then off to the right is the parking garage. You're seeing quite a bit of open space and connectivity. Something that we've worked really hard through the design is to have a direct connection from 51st Avenue straight through the site, past the water tower, and directly to where the pedestrian bridge will land that goes over the tracks that ties you right into the 48th and Brighton Station. Also reflected here, there are some pad sites that are circled with number 8. There's one just below the parking garage. There are a couple between the Staples building and the parking garage. And then we talked about this last time as a potential to bring one of these pad sites forward early is we've identified the top left as the housing site. So that is on National Western Drive, right across the street from the riverfront open space, with the back of the building, if you will, along the paddocks or stables. And then this on the left side is that what we're calling the river connector between the main campus plaza out to the river and National Western Drive. So just wanted to highlight that housing site. I will keep rolling. So we discussed this last month, but we have a little bit more information to share this month. We are proposing a workforce housing component. You're seeing on the right, that's an image of a massing study, and that is on that pad site that we were just looking at. We're now kind of up above the river, looking down from a bird's eye view. So we're exploring design options, anticipated to be about 30 to 40 units. It will be 100% income restricted and permanently affordable. We're partnering with the Department of Housing Stability, that's host, working to analyze data in the market to inform AMI levels, its area median income levels, and the unit mix, meaning 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, or more, and what's most appropriate for this type of housing. And then we're also discussing operating models with hosts. This is intended to be city-owned rental units with an operator, but we're working through what those models could look like with the Department of Housing Stability. Before I go into the renderings, I just want to pause and jump in if you have any questions so far. We have more to get to and 3 pictures, and then of course the project support agreement. So just want to pause there. Any questions or discussion?
So on that housing, how are you gonna identify, is there gonna be like a priority? Is your current resident, or it's open to everybody, no restrictions? Is there any type of demographics you're gonna be looking at for applicants in that?
Yeah, so we'll work with hosts. I mean, there's the Fair Housing Act that we have to follow, of course. But we're open to feedback and ideas that you guys have. If we need to do outreach directly to communities, we can do that. Say it's open, please apply. But I think we would have to work with hosts and our operator that we eventually bring on to work through how that works out.
Is there gonna be a senior citizens component in that? Like for handicap access, those types of things?
So it will certainly be accessible. We'll meet ADA code, and some of the units will have to be accessible as well. But what you're seeing on the slide is what we know so far. We still have a lot more work to do.
That's fine.
Steve, AE and then Shannon have questions. AE, why don't you go first?
Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. Steve, can you elaborate what is the mutual, what's the beneficiality, if that's a word, of this decision relative to the leveraging of resources for the National Western Center campus as a whole? Can you explain how this decision was made in the business model or the economic model, and kind of how it came about for the housing? Is it something that leverages other resources? What's the strategy for this and this timing now?
I think it's just benefit. I think that was the word you're looking for. And so, I'm just kidding with you, AE. So I think that the opportunity we have right now is that we, as part of this large procurement and design effort, we asked our design teams to identify pad sites. And as you saw on the previous slide, there were several pad sites. Those were intended to be developed in the future by others, not as part of this opportunity. We are, as you know, we're pursuing federal financing. There is a financing source that is very advantageous. It's a really good interest rate. It's better than what we could get in the private market. And as part of that financing at the federal level, there are requirements for, and I mentioned this to this group before, there are requirements for buying American-made products. Componentry, circuits, fuses, light bulbs, everything in the building has to be American-made. And so we have, that is a really challenging process to work through, especially when you have to go and waive each of the components. The Build America Bureau released guidance late last year, stating that if you introduce a housing component in your project, then the Buy America manufactured products requirement would receive a blanket waiver. And so we said, okay, we have an opportunity, we have pad sites. We've heard from the community, there's certainly a need for housing. There has always been this desire to have housing at the National Western Center somewhere, and certainly in the Triangle, and by no means does this replace that opportunity for what's being discussed in the Triangle. And so we think we have a pretty good opportunity to bring one of these pad sites forward now with this financing source and introduce housing now. Brad's been very involved in these discussions, so have others on the call. If you guys have more to add on where we are and why we're doing it now.
Okay, well, I mean, the why now is because there's an opportunity to, right?
Right.
And I think that when we were looking at this new design in the equestrian center, one of the things we wanted to see was how do we activate this campus more than just what the equestrian center itself could bring. It's an 18-acre site. There's opportunities. There's always, I mean, this is in the big scheme of things on this site, a relatively small pad site, but still a site large enough that it can produce a really desirable outcome. And so we identified, I think there were 5 different sites around the equestrian center on this 18-acre site that were opportunity sites. This is, I think, in my opinion, the only one, and I suppose folks could disagree with me, but I would suggest this is the only one that residential could go on of the pad sites, just from where they are and what uses are next door, and how much activation there is. It's a quiet corner on the site. It faces, I think this site is some of the most valuable real estate on the entire campus. It's waterfront. It has, beautiful Continental Divide views. I mean, it is just a great piece of real estate, and to have some of the square footage used for housing and residents versus the back of the stables. I mean, I'm not trying to make a joke. I mean, that's literally what's there. I mean, this was, and I'll just say, when I was planning director back in the day and we were looking at this, it concerned me that we were not activating National Western Drive frontage and that it was the back of the barn. And now I think we have some uses that are some of the most valuable on our campus: community space, urban farming, housing. That is super exciting, and if we could figure out ways to activate the other pad sites along with this, I think we would pursue those too. More is just better. It creates opportunity.
Shannon's had her, thank you, Brad. Shannon's had her hand up. Shannon?
Thank you. I have a few questions. On the city-owned piece, and you said city-owned with an operator, what percentage would be, at what percentage city-owned is that? Do you have, and then sub-question to that, do you have an idea of who the operator will be, or will this be like partnering with neighborhood organizations like the Washington Street site? And then I have a second question after that.
Yeah, 100% city-owned ground, it would be a city-owned building. And as far as operating models, we don't know enough yet to answer that question. We're gonna work with hosts to assess the different types of models that are out there and work together to make the best decision. So I don't have an answer to who the operator would be and what opportunities there are for partnership.
Okay, thank you. And then will you be sharing the capital stack for this housing project and this whole project before you take this to city council to committee, or will it be shared at committee so that we can see how funding for this housing project interrelates with funding for this entire project?
We will not be providing that information prior to city council, and that's a topic that's later in the agenda around the project support agreement. And how that is gonna go to city council and how we will continue to negotiate the development agreement, which would reflect the larger deals that comes later.
Maybe we can move that and then we can get to Shannon's question in that. Does that work for you, Shannon?
I can wait. It just struck my mind as we were here. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
What, she had another question.
That was the second question.
Oh, that was the second question.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, any other questions about the
So
site?
we don't know how many bedrooms, how many units, because that's yet to be determined. We just, from this discussion, it's just a pad site right now in its current configuration.
Well, I mean, we know the size of the pad site, right?
Yeah, but we don't know how, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom.
We don't know the
we don't know any of
units
those units.
yet. We're thinking it's somewhere 30 to 40 units. It hasn't been designed yet. We've done massing studies, that's it.
It's all rental,
Rental, that's right, rental.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
When it says analyzing the data to inform AMI levels,
Yep.
what does that mean?
But market,
I don't know what the acronym means, but what does it mean in terms of, what are you analyzing it for?
I think it's a needs-based study to understand what does the AMI level mean for this neighborhood compared to other neighborhoods? What is the greatest need? Assessing that with this site. I mean, if you go to very low AMI levels, this is not the best site for that, because you need to wrap that with a bunch of other services.
Sure.
The intent is to be workforce housing. And so, but you know, we have to work with hosts to help us understand what that truly means for this specific location in these areas.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And so that also goes to the unit mix as well. Does it make sense to have a bunch of studios? I don't know. Probably not. Probably a good mixture with studios to 2 bedroom or even more.
A lot of families in GES.
Right.
With needs.
Yeah.
Laura, is there anything we need to look at in the chat? No. And Angela, why don't you go ahead?
Okay, after all this time, you think I know what the damn mute button is, but I don't. Oh, sorry, I swore. Can somebody explain to me? I'm tired. I was running around. What is workforce housing? What exactly does that mean?
I think there are different definitions. It's a bit subjective. I think that is the intent of this housing and that it is housing for workforce that are below a certain, income level, below those AMI levels. So this is not intended to be, very low income, or potentially, above or at market rate. This is intended to be people that are working, that are struggling to find housing in Denver, that this could accommodate. And so, again, defining exactly what that means, really, it comes down to the AMI levels, and that's.
I think for lack of better words, you're trying to say blue collar workers, blue collar workforce, not white collar workforce. In terms of income limits.
Depends, certainly depends. Entry level, white collar.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could be a clerk at a bank, and that'd be white collar, but the income level at that is the same thing as a blue collar. You're doing general labor.
Sounds like they'll do a needs assessment too.
That's right.
Really will determine the definition. Because it differs across the city, right?
That's right.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
GES for we're the lowest income neighborhood in the city of
Right,
County, Denver.
right.
I mean, I can go on the stats, I can spit those up all day long right now, but that's not what this is about.
Well, I would suggest that really is exactly what this is about. I mean, when they do that needs analysis, that's what they're gonna be looking at. Where is this? What are the needs? And have it be responsive to that. That's exactly what should drive this decision.
So hopefully, all those multiple factors should come into play.
Yeah.
Is that a conversation?
So kind of like
All right.
section 8 or something different, or it's still up in the air and we don't exactly know.
Well, section 8 would be a different program altogether. I mean, this would be,
Income restricted.
yeah, it's income
So a
restricted.
maximum income per household.
So Jessica is putting up just some information there, that 60% to 120% AMI, and dependent again on the needs assessment within the area.
Yeah, Shannon put up 30%.
Yeah, it will vary, I think, based on the needs assessment.
Yeah, and then we have AE.
Yeah.
I just want to reinforce, I think this is an important discussion to be very organized around as far as providing supporting materials for general discussion. So folks in the neighborhoods that are wanting to understand this can participate in the discussion loop on developing the formula for what the AMI and the unit configurations are. There's been real effective progress among the neighborhood groups in Global area Swansea helping to bring clarity to a very confusing formula around affordable and workforce housing. So I hope this process has a really focused discussion that's forward-looking into the neighborhoods. And there has also been some good success in getting units that are large enough to have children, and that is a way of creating a sense of family, multi-generational investment in it. And regarding Brad's, recognizing that it's exciting to see things like housing in the various other things coming in. Yes, it's what this project has was originally and dreamed of fulfilling is a lot of things like this. So I think that how we go about this so that people understand the formula behind this, I want to say that the reason I asked about the economics and the decision and how it was made is that the more people understand full details of what's being considered within the neighborhoods and can listen to these things, the more people are going to feel that it was brought personally to them rather than sort of appeared, and it'll prevent a lot of misunderstandings. So I just want to encourage the continuation of the valuable information, part of what Shannon and Jessica have put in the chat, and just bringing it forward for real clear outlined conceptual and detailed discussion. So hopefully there'll be some clear materials on that.
Amy, we look forward to sharing as we continue to work through this. We're sharing real time with you guys. I mean, we wanted to get this information out as soon as we could. But
I wonder if host could do a workshop with us, like, could we have host come to this meeting and talk about their methodology and.
Yeah, that'd be a good.
I mean, we have time to do that. I think that's a great suggestion.
The components of a needs assessment would be really informational.
Yeah.
So that to determine how they reach the AMI is really based on that needs assessment, so. How they set that is really, it's actually really quite interesting, because there's a lot of information or data that goes into setting that.
Yeah.
I know Shannon just mentioned she'd be interested in having hosts coming to the meeting. So
Great.
we can look into it for sure.
That's great.
Yeah, I definitely will endorse the suggestions of the workshops and meetings. Steve, I want to remind you, when we discussed the zoning changes in painful detail back in the day, the supporting materials were very helpful, and there were materials that we could take out into the neighborhoods, into larger discussion with one another. And I want to say, it's not just coming to have a conversation, and it's getting to the point where we have materials that are accessible in the way that they present the options, the concepts and the formulas, so we can help each other along in a broader scope beyond the limitations of the meetings and the digital formats and that kind of a thing. So I just want to reinforce that to have carryaways and things like that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We should probably move on to the next issue, Steve.
Keep rolling. All right.
I just one quick thing before you move on.
Yep.
I think it's really critical for hosts to be able to build the structure in a self-contained mode. What I mean by that statement is that put solar panels, so the utility cost for the residents isn't high. Create green walls so they have vegetable gardens. Create an atmosphere, maybe use some of the heating that's being heating the rest of the campus. It has to be technically efficient and effective and cost effective for these residents in order to be an effective housing project, one like no other in the country. And I think that needs to be first and foremost up front. And I think that should be one of the parameters, the groundbreaking parameters for a host to follow. I just want to say that.
Thank you, Armando.
Can I say something real quick too? Just to keep it in your radar, as you know, CSU Spurs providing college classes. So this obviously goes against Spurs' interest, but this, we can make sure that it doesn't get like take over by students. I'm sure this may not be a high possibility, but still keeping that in mind, that the housing is not just for.
That it doesn't become student housing.
But it's for the neighborhood.
Thank you.
Just to remind us, when we did the community meetings, and I think Bianca was there as well as all of us, was talking about exactly what you said, Armando, is how do we make anything on the campus sustainable? And I think that was a real priority. I remember we had long conversations about it in the community
absolutely.
meetings.
Okay, so you all have seen these renderings before, but just a reminder of what the buildings look like. This is the community building. This is down on National Western Drive, right across from the riverfront. This is a 4,000 square foot building, and these are, you'll see some art here, and that's just an example of what could be there. That's not the proposed artwork. We are gonna work with the community to put art in there. Another shot of the same building. This is moving towards the patio between that building, the community space, and the greenhouse. They're gonna share this patio space. The greenhouse is intended to be an operating greenhouse with a head house or a flex room that's supporting the growing operation, but also has some flexibility where we could host events or community could use it as well. Here's another shot on that patio looking at the greenhouse. This is that flex space where they could again host events or support the grow side of the greenhouse itself. Another shot of the patio. Now we are in the main campus plaza. The Livestock Center is behind us. We're looking at the main entry to the Equestrian Center arena. This is a view of the river connector where Vida is off to our right, the housing site would be off to our left, off the map. This is the main campus plaza looking down towards Vida and the main entry. Inside the building at the main entry, heading up to the concourse level. Another concourse level shot, an exit in the building. This is an image from parking garage to our right. We're looking down towards, we're looking southwest. This is the hotel and the Armor building, and then the equestrian center arena off in the distance to the left. These renderings do not include the housing site. We'll certainly work over the next several months to update renderings and include that, but you would likely be able to see the housing from this angle off in the distance to the right of the arena. A ground shot of the hotel, and then another main campus plaza on the ground, the hotel looking down at the Armor building, which is a landmark structure. Okay, so you guys have seen those before, those are the renderings. The project support agreement is something we haven't discussed with this group, but this is there will be several agreements associated with this project. This is the one agreement that is going to City Council. So the project support agreement is, the purpose of this is to finance the design and construction of the project. The parties are the City and County of Denver and the authority. We're the two parties to this agreement. Is the ability for the city to support this project, support the authority. The authority will then go enter into a development agreement. We're working with CAP to negotiate that development agreement. The city will not be a party to that development agreement. The project support agreement will include, we're under an active negotiation, but it will include the final annual appropriation. And of course, it's subject to construction costs and interest rates. And so we're still working through what that final number would be, but this would essentially say that the city will fund this number annually, and it would have to be appropriated annually to pay the debt service for 35 years. So the duration is the completion date of completion of construction in 2028 plus 35 years. And I mentioned the parties. So this is a really simplified overview of the project support agreement. Again, it's a fairly simple agreement, but it is that kind of legal document that and that documents the relationship between the city and the authority for then the authority to go and work with our developer to deliver the project. So a couple other thoughts on this. Project support agreement will also include the community benefits. We've talked about this list before. This list will be incorporated into that project support agreement as requirements that have to live on for the development of this project. And so we are working to incorporate these right now. And Shannon, I know you've asked this question before, and we talked about this of providing the development agreement. We are not going to have the development agreement yet, and so we're still negotiating that. But what we will be able to provide is how these are incorporated into the project support agreement. We intend to be able to share that with you before we go to City Council. So again, the required community benefits, baseline requirements. You guys know about these already. This is what we have to do. We're required to do these by the framework agreement. Prevailing wage, public art, small business, enterprise support, minority and women-owned business, enterprise participation, and then round up at all points of sale. That is just a baseline requirement that's already built in. In addition to that, 4,000 square feet of dedicated community space. That's that building that you guys saw along National Western Drive. Designing the site for connectivity from 51st right to the RTD station. Quite a bit of open space on the site as well. Work now and construction job requirement. A room night fee to the CIF. A fundraising day for the CIF. Promotion of local businesses to hotel guests, and back to that fundraising day, that would be for the hotel operator. as a requirement of the operator to get creative and raise funds for the CIO. Preferential community use of the hotel facilities. So think like the lobby or the meeting space that will be built into the hotel itself. We're gonna have a lot of meeting space on this campus. And then hotel apprenticeships, internships, and jobs. So you guys have seen this list before. The one change that we did make is that second to last bullet. We think it is more important to have preferential community use of the hotel facilities than just this. Previously it said discounted or free use of community or free use of hotel facilities. We think preferential is better because it gives you an opportunity to work with the hotel operator to get space, and you would have preference in order to accomplish that. Again, this will be incorporated into the project support agreement. Here's the process moving forward. We're going to city council in 1 month with the PSA, project support agreement. That's the South Platte River Committee. First reading will be on, assuming we get out of committee, will be on May 5th, and then second reading on May 12th. We are continuing to put these pretty pictures into words. We're working on the technical provisions. We are continuing to negotiate with community activation partners, and we will touch base again, same place next month, April 23rd, right after our committee meeting. And that is my update.
Questions or comments? I don't see anything in the chat. Okay. Thank you, Steve. Thank you.
Oh, I have some questions. Sorry, can I ask 2 questions? One question is, have you identified when you're talking about the debt service, have you identified a source to service that debt? And I have a second question.
Yeah, the project support agreement, the funds that the city would appropriate are, the source of those funds is the 2C funding. So that is the tourism tax, the lodgers tax. That's what was passed in 2015 to fund the work so far on this project. It's the same source of funding.
Okay, thank you. And then second question, since you said that you would provide us with the agreement before you go to council, but this meeting won't occur until the evening after you go to council committee, how will people see that agreement before you go to council?
Yeah, so that community benefits list is being incorporated into the project support agreement. And while we may not be able to share, and I've shared this with you before, we may not be able to share the entire agreement, we can certainly show you the community benefits portion of that agreement. And we still intend to do that. And so it would be shared via email. I can get it out to you. I'm also available for discussion and happy to meet with you if you want to talk more about it.
Okay, I really appreciate that, Steve. I know I've been persistent, but that's just part of my job. So thank you for working with me on that.
Angela?
Thank you. I had to step away and feed my dog. Could somebody energize a brain cell in my head and remind me what a community activation? I forgot. See, I forgot. I can't read my handwriting. Can you tell me what that is or who that is? I'm also not doing caffeine for Lent, so I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing.
Bianca, did you hear that?
I wasn't sure if you meant the community activation partners, our team, or if you meant the community activation on the campus.
Either or, both. Again, I have no caffeine in my body today. I don't know.
So Community Activation Partners is the name that we gave to our overarching consortium, which is made up of a lot of different companies. So Fangate is leading that team. Our design builder is Hensel Phelps Construction, and we have our hotel partners in McWhinney and Sage. And then our events programmer for the operation phase, which is Oakview Group, and then a whole lot of design firms that are helping us along the way. So rather than all those names every single time, the overall consortium, that the team, we gave ourselves the names and created an entity called Community Activation Partners. So that will be the entity that enters into the contract with the National Western Center Authority.
Okay, great. Yeah, that triggers something in my brain. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you. Any other questions for Steve? All right, we're gonna turn it over to the Mayor's Office of the National Western Center, Nwca, and Marcy and Brian, are you gonna?
Yeah, Brian, I'll go ahead. Are you still on? I'll go ahead and start.
Oh, sure.
You want to promote him? Do you have to promote him? Oh, no.
You just need to stop sharing.
Yeah. You there? Brian, are you still there?
I don't see him.
Oh my God, he totally left me.
All right.
That's fine. I will go from memory. No, a few updates that I have is one, the Triangle Community Outreach Work Group, which Armando and Sandra are part of. This is the work group that we have assembled with volunteers to help put together the community outreach and engagement plan for the Triangle Community Vision process. So we're creating the plan for the planning. And this is the community outreach plan. You guys can also jump in and add more to it, or ways to engage and ways to really connect with each and every person in the Globeville area and Swansea communities, whether you are an aging adult or a little kid. We want to make sure and get your feedback in our planning process. And so we've got 14 dedicated folks who are helping us put together the best ways to do that. Got anything about what you guys are doing?
I just think that Marcy and her staff have done an unbelievable job. They need to be commended. And I think the mayor should be grateful that they have people of her caliber from a historical perspective to the present, have the vision and foresight to be able to put this together. And more importantly, I believe the key component is the residents, and also to complement the National Western Center in terms of facilities, what's currently in place, and how it's going to be the vision. Again, I keep saying, or echoing, this should be an iconic facility throughout the region.
And cutting edge, and I know, and folks like Armando and Sandra are challenging the plan and the way we do outreach to do it better and do more and be thinking innovative, be thinking of flying cars, be thinking of ways to make sure there's, sustainability built into it. So we're really excited about this plan, and we're coming towards the end of it. We thought it'd be 3 or 4 meetings and we're at 10. So we're doing a lot of really great work. So we're finishing up that process next week. We have our final meeting, and a lot of it is to prepare for our presentation to City Council. So on April 14th, we will be presenting this plan to the City Council at whole, so they can see what we're doing and what we're planning to do. And they don't have to prove it or anything. We just want them to know what's going on and help get behind us and behind the residents of GES, so that we can come up with the best plan possible for the Triangle future phases. So we're excited about that. Also want to plug for the bond meetings. I think any of you around or participated in one last week for District 9. Councilman Watson's office held one specific to this community. The at-larges also have a meeting on April 10th. I will get more information and be able to send it to the entire group about where that meeting is, but just wanted to put a plug here for folks who maybe were at the D9 meeting, or even folks that maybe didn't go to the D9 meeting, that you get another chance to put your dots on your priorities at the April 10th. There were we saw some dots and priorities already put on the map that were in the GES community. And more dots means more priorities. So we just want to keep pushing out as much information as we can for folks to go to that large meeting and put more dots, so that GES has all the dots.
Marcy,
share dots. But.
So am I right that there is also we could send out a link, we could have Lori send out a link. There is a link where folks who cannot physically make it to a
Yes.
meeting can, right? Is that
Yes,
right? There's a
there's a
virtual dot.
There is a
process.
virtual dot process, exactly, yes, so there is a survey for that, so we will get that,
Yeah.
both of those pieces to you, and Laura, you can help me push it out, that'd be awesome. Yes, thank you for reminding me of that. So folks that can't go, again, there's, other ways to put your priorities on the map. There's some really cool, there's like parks, open space areas that I know people had a lot of priorities on. That was really cool to see. And then there's also some more like, yeah, and then the
These are tech
connectivity
centers,
pieces. Yeah, so there was some really cool priorities. So I wanted to put a plug for that, so we'll get that out for you all. Also next week, so that's April 3rd. Can't believe it's April already, everybody, but April 3rd, the NDSS, so that's the North Denver Safer Streets Program, is having an open house meeting. They've held one, I believe, already in the community. And the North Denver Safer Streets Program, this is a Dottie-led project with a smaller group of funds, but being able to implement things a lot faster. So how to make the streets safer. So whether it be lights, stop signs, bulb outs, crosswalks, things like that. And what they're doing is they're gathering and kind of reconfirming some of the priorities for this community on how to make these streets safer. And so it's another kind of DOT program. So putting on or putting your input on streets that you walk or ride your bike that are 26, or I think they will start things in 27 construction. So these are pretty quick hitting projects. So they have their open house next week. Also, they will have a survey to support this as well. And so we'll send you out that information. I think it's gonna be kind of confusing because there's similar dot processes and surveys. But again, important stuff because this is all really cool safety pieces and investments that come into this community, and we want it as much to happen here as possible.
Is that one in person?
That one is in person. It's at Johnson Rec
Okay.
Center on from 5 to 7 on April 3rd. And again, it's more of just a wander around, ask questions, put your thoughts, your ideas and streets and areas that you would like to see some improvement in. So, and they'll be doing a fair amount of outreach. So this isn't your only bite at the apple. There's other ways to engage, but here's an upcoming one. So if you have a street in your mind, let's get it on the list. And the next is the GES, Program Area of Projects. So we like our acronyms, we call it POP, Program Area of Projects, and that is the collaboration that the Mayor's Office of the National Weapons at Dottie have collaborated, as Brian said in his introduction, on ways that we can keep track and keep the pulse on all the projects that are happening in this community so that we don't get vapor lock and that we're not letting permits being pulled and completely shutting down, going here, 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 and here. So we're really trying to look at that, looking at the private developments and finding ways to kind of collaborate and coordinate with other projects that are going in this area as much as possible. For example, the Adams County one, I think that's gonna be done this summer. Oh my God, please, was that 54 or 56? That's a fun one. Hopefully that'll be done and that'll open up some things. But as far as the projects that are happening, right now, we've talked about this in the past, is the levee project is underway. You see, there's a trail detour in place from March, and we started that trail detour March 16th until about this fall. So if you're riding your bike along the trail, you will just please make sure to keep your eyes open and follow any of the detour signs. We did have one of our team members ride that detour recently, and we need another sign. So we're gonna, you kind of can go by it too fast. And so we wanted to make sure it's intuitive for folks that are going there as far as how that detour goes into place. I don't think Chad's on here. He has asked questions, yes. I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed, I can say this, I'm sure, but the detour has to follow standard roads, right? Approved roads and pathways as far as for laws and rules and lots of information like that. yes, you can probably ride along if you know your way through the National Western Center campus and some of those pieces. You can wander on through. It's just, it doesn't have some sidewalks on one end or the other end, so it can't be approved, a detour. So just know that that's okay. Also, there is still some, enabling work on 51st, which will connect across Washington to 52nd to do some alignment. So that early enabling work is Excel and other, Excel, CenturyLink, other utilities that are doing some relocates in order to prepare that area for construction. Because as you guys have seen, it is in a temporary condition with a one-way that nobody follows. Not even the postman, just, I thought it go the wrong way through there, and I was like, really? USPS, but I get it, it's kind of dumb, but, that will get worked on, so we're actually excited to get that really a good proper connection with the 51st Avenue Bridge and good turning radiuses and things like that. Also work in the Heron Pond area is underway, yes.
I had a question about the levee work
Yes.
at 40,
It
looks like it's right where the Betty Graham Bridge would land.
Yes.
And so I was like, wait, is the Betty Graham Bridge under construction? Is
I know.
that,
It's
I'm assuming
all-
that's all coordinated
Mhm,
and
that
it's designed in a way to accommodate a bridge in the future and all that.
Exactly. So we actually were going to do the bridge, a couple of years ago, and then some of the studies came back and the levee needed improvement. So instead of building the bridge and then tearing out down part of the bridge to fix the levee, we all decided like, hey, let's pause on the bridge. Let's do the levee first, get the levee in its proper configuration, floodplain and all of that kind of stuff. We'll do the levee work, that gets complete. And then that moves to the 48th Avenue Greenway and Betty Graham Drive Bridge, which is also has some funding mechanisms through Connecting Communities grant. So that it's on its path. So now that there's work happening, Betty Graham Drive Bridge is in sight. I'd like to say it's in sight.
It's very fun to see work happening on the other side of the river.
It is, and that area definitely, I'm excited for that to get improved. It's not awesome on the other side. And getting that to be really useful will be amazing. Let's see, Heron Pond, that phase 2, I think is what it is. And that work is underway. The Heron Pond and Carpio Sanguinetti Park will stay fenced and closed until all of that work is done. But that's exciting work. And then we're still tracking towards Washington Street to start some construction here this summer. And that one will be one we'll want to talk a lot about and keep everybody informed on closures and night work and all sorts of other things, because that's a main artery in here, so.
So the park space north of 51st,
It's north of 51st, yes?
when is that gonna be finished and unfenced?
Oh, the Heron and
Carpio.
Carpio Sanguinetti?
Yeah, they're doing a bunch of plannings right now. It
Uh-huh.
looks like it's super close to done.
I feel like it's a year, like the end of the year. I can double check that and send it out. I don't have that date cemented in my brain yet.
Okay.
It does look close, but I think there's actually. Trying to speak so loud for Francisco. Now I can't. And I'm coughing, but there is also storm and some drainage work that still needs to happen in there, so that takes a little longer as well.
Yeah.
I know ECI site contractors are in there. Hold on. Francisco gave you a thumbs up. Thank you. Making me cough. And then just the last fun update, if you guys are driving through the campus, the next public art installation is moving. We've had that pad sitting there for a little while in the riverfront open space, so the barn structure you can drive by is up, and so we'll be talking and working, and hopefully maybe this summer have a kind of a grand opening or kind of a community event of some sort where we can celebrate that cool pink
I saw some
barn.
social media pictures of them doing the painting of the roof panels.
Really?
Oh my God, it was so
Oh.
beautiful.
Is it?
Oh my gosh.
I'm excited for that.
Really
because
cool.
It's gonna stand out in a good way, so. I think those are my pop updates. A little repetitive, but if anybody has any questions, just let me know.
Thank you. Any questions for Marcy? AE?
Yeah, one quick question and then just want to bring one thing forward. Marcy, at the Gooseman's Tire location there, 51st, could you just let folks know what the covering there is? There's a hazmat charisma to it that I think it would be relieving for people to know what's going on with the building. I don't think it's a hazmat. I think you know what I'm talking about? It's got a covering over it. There's a process.
Is it asbestos?
There's a process going on with the property. I think it would be helpful for people to know. And if you don't know now, we'll get it. It's just in the environment that we live in. It's important to know and to be able to distinguish the things that look like hazmat sites in the movies. So then, do you know anything now? If not, you can. Somebody there might know.
I don't, but I'll find out. But if it's wrapped, Armando's right. It may be just some asbestos abatement of that site, but I'll double check for you.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of assuming, but why don't you paint some butterflies on the outside of it or something? It'd be really.
Yeah, some flowers.
And then
flowers
one consideration I want to bring forward from the early stages of conversation around the development of the west bank of the river. The background conversation that I think needs to come forward again are the awareness that people within Globeville especially have around what is going to happen to that waterfront. It could become a configuration where the properties are sold and condominiums are put up. It could become a situation where there's more recreational. I'm an advocate for turn the Platte River into what it feels like to be on the Clear Creek up in Golden and have a lot of fun. And then the access to not lose to private interests entirely, riverfront access on the neighborhood side. There was some dreaming going on, so long ago in the early days of how can the National Western Center campus project be a leveraging force for recreationalizing and democratizing the West Bank too. And so I just want to bring that forward again out of the early conversations, and it's interwoven with activating the Heron Pond, Carpio Sanguinet parks with the relationships on the on the home front with the neighborhoods. So just for the sake of going forward, making the process transparent and in the tradition of what Steve is at the vanguard here, letting us know early on what the discussions are and get the imagination going and the interest in conversation with each other.
That's great. I love that you brought that back up.
Yeah.
It probably got lost a little, so that's a great point. AE, thank you.
I just want to piggyback on that. I'm curious, and forgive me because I know I'm maybe a little late to these conversations. But I attended the Vibrant Denver meeting in District 9, and it did strike me how exciting of an opportunity it seems like it may be to discuss, especially the use of public activation of public land, which I think the land that we're discussing here is all owned by the city. I want to, and I'm so sorry, I'm not sure who just gave that comment. AE, I really appreciate this vision for recreationalizing the west side of Platte. And I think that would be a really exciting project potentially for the city in that bond program. The mayor actually said specifically that this was hopefully to fund projects that would bring joy. And that would bring me a lot of joy. I think a lot of people a lot of joy to do something to reactivate that land. So encourage everybody to submit those requests. I think the more voices that can be aligned on projects like this and voice enthusiasm for them, the more interesting it will be to the mayor's office. And so yeah, I want to encourage that. And I'll definitely be putting a word in as well.
May I please, on behalf of, I appreciate what you've just said. It's very reinforcing. I would like to keep it, the eloquence of it's an exciting engagement for the neighborhoods. It's been going on for decades. I appreciate putting in terms of the exciting project for the mayor, but I'm glad you're excited, and I just want you to know that it's an enthusiasm that has a depth, and there's people trying to keep it alive and bring that sort of romance to the west side of the river. It is not a new idea. The Heron Pond first presentation many years ago was shut down by the neighbors at the rec center on Broadway because there was too many prefabricated renderings, and it really did open up the process. And I think, that I just want to keep that perspective. The excitement on the mayoral level, great, but I see it as an extraordinary opportunity for real neighborhoods engagement with one another, and within the context of a long-standing effort, just to keep the feel for that out there.
Yes, I appreciate that. Thank you for that context.
And we can see the South Platte River for the first time in a long time from this side, and let's make sure we continue to be able to see it.
I'm gonna move us along, and invite Eduardo to talk a little bit about CSU super updates.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I want to share out is I was able to finally meet with the EPA, and they want to give a presentation about the history of the pollution of these neighborhoods at Spur. And I'm gonna have all the questions that I want to ask them, so if you guys have questions, I know Birdseed was here. I would love to connect with Birdseed, with all the local organizations that may have questions, so I can pre-send it to them so they can prepare for this event. Because I want it to be like, community comes, ask all the questions they need, and then kind of move forward with that. So that'd be great. The other thing that I.
Say more APA, please.
The EPA?
Yeah, I know what it is, but folks may not know what you're talking about.
It's, so, I don't want to take up much time, but since I've got hired for Spur, there's been a lot of questions to me and CSU about soil testing. There's a lot of questions behind the health of the neighborhood's soil. And I asked that a lot around Spur, CSU. They didn't have the answer, so I got sent to the EPA. The EPA has all the data of all the remediations they've done, all the policies that went into hand with. I wasn't here, but a few years back, there was supposed to be a lot of work done. But there's a lot of lack of knowledge, misunderstanding, or just distrust with the process that happened a few years ago. So it'd be good to revisit with the people that have all the data. So that's the idea why I would like to bring them to Spur, is to kind of refresh that conversation without too many, because I keep getting a lot of questions regarding it.
So Eduardo, would EPA, Environment Protection Agency, only look into the soil or also
Air quality.
air quality or
It could
anything else?
be everything. So what I want is, if you guys have questions that you would like to ask them, to send them to me, so I can send them to them, and then they can prepare for this event.
So is it just a one-time event, or is it, they'll be here all week, or, I mean,
So my hope is to have it a few times at Spur, but I don't wanna hoard it. So I would love to find some partners that have spaces that they can invite the EPA to have the same presentation, but in different locations. So I don't wanna volunteer Birdseed, but your guys' space is awesome, and you guys are awesome, so, or like,
Yeah,
focus
we're
points.
down to host whatever you'd like, Eduardo. Actually, today in our community partners meeting, a couple of representatives from the EPA were in the meeting as well. And they did go into detail about what type of services they can offer the community, or as well as the type of information they can help us with as well. If you have any further questions, we have contact the EPA as well.
Yeah, that should have been Pedro, right?
Pedro and Becca.
Yeah,
Or Becky.
yeah, Pedro and Becca. Becky,
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
Becky,
Yeah.
That's perfect. That's the same guy. I shared that meeting with them because I wanted to introduce themselves to the people.
Yeah, and they seem like they were very interested in tabling and a lot of community events to really listen to community members and kind of get the conversation started again. So,
Yeah, I'm glad you showed up. I was like, please
Yeah.
talk, but.
I guess that's a great program, or whatever it is, because many of the residents that I've heard of, they like, they have that issue with the soil testing, that the EPA, they didn't do their work like they were supposed to do. And we have residents saying that EPA came, they changed the soil from their neighbor, and they didn't change their soil, like, it was like, and EPA, well, the guy before, I don't know what we're talking about, was saying that they did all the neighborhoods, but we have residents saying that they didn't do that. And so it will be great for residents to come to these meetings, if it's gonna be meetings, workshops, whatever, that they can see the data, that they really did that. And if they didn't, how can they do it now? How can they do a better job? Because that's an issue that we've been having for a long time, that they didn't do a great job on changing their soil on everything. And also with all the new developments, constructions, with the I-70 project, people also were complaining like, okay, they changed some soil here, but they didn't change the soil from the businesses that were, ¿cómo se dice la palabra? Derrumbar. Yeah, so, it's great that you guys are doing that, even at the community council meeting, the health study, we were just talking about that last week, I think. One of the residents was saying that, again, that they came, they changed the soil in 2 houses and her block, but they didn't change any of the soil. And they didn't even went to her house and asked her if they could change the soil, because also they were saying that, oh, yeah, we knocked on the door and they didn't want us to change the soil, and she's an owner, so it's not like the landlord didn't allow them. They didn't even ask her.
To me, it's real simple. This is what happened. All the residential properties, some of them got touched, some of them didn't. All the commercial property in GES, 80216, did not get touched. That soil is still contaminated today. The more important question is, what is EPA gonna do about it? Not, we know what the problems are. I mean, that's obvious.
Yeah.
Air quality, all that other stuff. I could sit here all day long and talk about VOC and also organic compounds, talk about all the kids at hard place that have asthma because of the air quality. It's pinned in between 2 highways. I can go down that path all day long. But the more important thing is, given this current state of political affairs where the EPA stands, what are we gonna do about it? That's what he's real key.
Shannon and then Angela.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, just to add on to what Sandra and Armando are saying, in this meeting earlier today, it was interesting to me that the person, Becky from the EPA, was saying that she could look up people's addresses to see if their soil had been remediated. And I had asked if that was like a public facing interface so that neighbors could look up that address themselves. So if they can't come to this meeting, they could still look that up. And she said it's not a public facing interface, that it's just like spreadsheets that she has. So I just wanted to raise that again because if there is a database that shows where the soil has been remediated, it seems like it would be really important that that information is public so that neighbors could know that without sort of having this stopgap of going to one person. And I did bring it up to Becky, but I just wanted to raise it here as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. Angela?
Thank you. And thank you, Armando, because that's exactly what I was going to say. Way back in the day when the soils were being remediated, our yards, a lot of people made the option not to remediate. And then those people either moved or crossed over and their family sold a whole house. And the realtor is supposed to tell you, number one, that you're living in one of the most contaminated zip codes in the United States, but they lack to do that in talking to many of my new neighbors. So they don't tell the new people moving in or the new landlord that the land was never cleaned up. So that's why many of them were skipped. And again, as Armando said, some of the businesses were not cleaned up either. So I don't believe a lot of it was intentional. It's just, you know, it goes so far back that, you know, the telephone no longer exists. The landline no longer exists. So trying to get that information. But again, thank you, Eduardo, for doing that and listening to community. And thank you to Birdseed for always stepping up and making things happen for community.
Thank you.
No,
Can I just mention one quick thing on soil? And just because it seems to come up now, we mentioned that Compost Colorado is operating, folks. We are going to begin processing organic material and producing soil. 10% of that is set aside as community for, so, you know, if the community about the most attention to this or everyone's radar that opportunity will be forthcoming, and I'm happy to share updates and speak with the CIC about how to best make this opportunity accessible to people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
And I'm happy to share Becky Geyer's information as well. She was part of the community conversation today. And so she was happy for me, or
so
she
you'll
was,
just send that out.
yeah, I'll send that out.
Okay. Thank you, Eduardo. Lori, you're.
We have Armando. He's gonna be doing a community update.
I have it out. Okay.
Okay, just real quick, I want to pick up on what Noah mentioned, about, I call it biochar, the type of soil that we need here in GES. And what I mean by that statement, and I was grateful enough that Brad, when we applied, you can apply for, EPA funding several times. One of them was a $20 million EPA grant, which was, it's still up in the air, we haven't not got denied. And there was 2 other grants that were out there, but one did get funded. In fact, we just turned in the final draft of the grant yesterday or today, which we'll be having an oral assessment of that with EPA. And in that grant, it's an EPA $350,000 grant, and the specific thing for that grant is gardening. Gardening, our goal, UCAN's goal is to go from garden to table, which means vegetables will be growing at the resident site. We're gonna be working with Compost Colorado. Brad had laid this foundation earlier, about 6-7 months ago, to reach out to Joe McCulloch. So we've been working with Joe McCulloch via Noah here and the rest of Lori and the rest of the National Western Center staff to get everything set up for this 2-year grant that hopefully, the money's already been allocated. So we believe this is a full go, that we don't see the current administration being able to pull those funds. But what we're gonna be doing, I don't trust the content of the soil. Myself personally, I have, as many of you know, I sell real estate, and I've even had some of my own homes where our Sarco King said they cleaned up the soil. I did a lead-based paint testing on it, and there's still lead contamination in the home. Obviously, as a realtor, as I think Angela mentioned, as a real estate agent, you have to disclose any and all mentions of lead-based paint in the surroundings there. But getting back to the soil content, what we plan on doing, we, meaning you can, through the grant, it's a 2-year grant, 350,000. Our goal is to educate the residents in terms of what the proper way to garden to create the utmost capacity out of your yard. And we're gonna have raised flower beds, that's our goal. Unless the resident is adamant that they want to have embedded soil. And then obviously we're gonna look at Colorado compost, but again, our goal is to use biochar compost, which is a highly concentrated, highly protein soil, which we believe Colorado compost can produce, and it requires less water. So we want to encourage all the residents. We're going to be reaching out to all the residents as much as we can as far as the $350,000 grant, a 2-year grant again will allow us to do that. We want to again educate the residents, and we're going to work with the schools, the churches, everybody that we can to get out and get this going. So that's just one program that UCAN is working on. I've got 3 other programs I want to mention, and then I'll be done here. We're also going to be working on a project called weatherization. What I mean by that statement is that we want to go, I'm not sure how many people know in here, that 40% of or 60% of the 4,000 homes in GES are over 100 years old. The weatherization project, we will be working with Xcel Energies and their heating component, and they'll be going in, we're gonna be knocking on doors to see if people want their homes weatherized. They sign up for this program, and it's free to the residents. And we'll fill out the application, we'll monitor that. We have a program called Technical, Citizen Science, which one of the professors at Colorado State University, Greg Newman, I think he's on faculty here, but I know he's on faculty up at the Colorado State University up in Fort Collins, will help us monitor. We're gonna monitor everything that we do. So Brad or anybody in here can say, okay, I live at, I'll give my address, 4707 Pearl. You punch it in 4707 Pearl in the citizen science program, it'll come up, it'll say, okay, what's going on over there? Okay, they changed the soil, oh, they had it weatherized. So those, and then the third thing is, another program that we're working on with Dura is called, electrification. What we want to do, we talked about air quality in here and the contamination that exists in GES. One of my goals our goals is to remove all the gas appliances inside the homes, meaning the gas water heater, the gas stove, and the gas furnace. Replace those with the electrical appliances. You have an electronic hot water heater, you have an electronic stove, you have an electronic furnace or a mini split, and then the air quality inside the home is cleaner. Therefore, be able to extend our lives because we live in this neighborhood, the most contaminated zip code in America. It's a known fact. Because we live here, 10 years of our life is taken off the books. And the last thing is home ownership. The home ownership program that we're working with residents who want to buy right now, not 10 years, not 5 years, right now. We have programs, we just did one the other day over at Focus Point. We're gonna get them certificates to be able to be eligible for down payment assistance and other types of assistance, so they're in a position to buy homes right now in GES if you want. If it's not here, if it's somewhere else, then we're gonna be able to help them as well. That's UCAN. And then the last thing is, the triangle, we're gonna be going, as Marcy mentioned, to in front of the governor and the city council. One of the things that I like to focus in on, and one of the goals that was issued to me was number 2, which focuses in on the community investment fund. If we can increase that amount to enhance a lot of these things and all these things that I'm talking about, they're resident driven. The city and county of Denver's not doing them. It's us, the residents, are gonna be driving these programs. And honestly, I commend the city and county employees in the National Western for helping us, or else we wouldn't even have office space. Brad's been so kind enough, or Joe, or the center, we even have a cubicle now that we can run these projects out of here. We're hoping to get a little conference room to be able to bring the residents to do some training. So that's just a quick overview, and I just want to thank everybody, and for their time and support. And hopefully these minor programs here will change the quality of life in GES. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Armando.
Thank you, Armando. Lots of good news.
Nice work.
Thank you. So Hannah had to jump off. She was with the police department, but she did offer to come to the next meeting, but I will share more. Their goal here for the CAC is just to talk about resources that they have available to District 1 and 2, as well as ways to communicate. I know that this area is part of 2 districts, so we're really just trying to be very transparent on how to communicate with DPD and the services that we really want to see more of, and obviously for them to give updates on the community safety. So we're gonna go into, so I'm gonna do my fun stuff.
And I can say Hannah and Isabella though are really, really great and responsive. I've had to call them on a few things and they're good problem solvers. And
yeah. And they've helped communicate some issues that we were having, like who do I call and get transfers, like how is that collected and resolved? So it's gonna be the community. Yep. So then on DPD, so they have an event coming up on April 5th. It's Touch a Truck. So they're planning on being at Swansea Elementary. Yes. No, the rec center, I'm sorry. So at the rec center, they're gonna have Curiosity Cruiser for you to go in, explore. It's a museum on wheels, as well as digger trucks, police trucks, fire trucks, just for a day to bring out the little kiddos to spend the day. There's gonna be pizza, there's gonna be water, and then obviously just the community members coming together to really support and celebrate GES community. And then we do have our Garden Place refresh. I'm surprised Armando did not talk about it.
I got excited about it. Just to add to Lori's comment there, we plan on painting Garden Place, the playground there. For whatever reason, the Denver Public Schools doesn't paint the playground. And So it's scheduled for May 3rd, but I think we might have to move it over to August 2nd because from what I understand, I'm gonna confirm this next week, is DPS is gonna come and put a new layer of asphalt in the parking lot and on the playground.
Oh, okay.
And if they do that, then I wanna make sure that we have the resources. We hope to hold on to those resources and do it on August 3rd, but I'll confirm that next week.
Okay,
But
perfect.
yeah, that's that. And then Lori, the National Western, again, you know, they've been outstanding in support of the community. I know a lot of people say that, you know, I kiss up the brown nose to the National Western, but you know, from my perspective, they've been helping out, so.
Awesome.
You know.
And you guys did that a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Mhm.
Yeah, so this is nice for them to have that refresh, get ready for summer, spring, so they have a place to go and it's bright, colorful. So we're so grateful for that partnership.
Oh, yeah.
And then, one of our biggest things that we're really working for is collaborating with CSU Spur to really enhance, the experience on campus and really try to partner on that same second Saturday of every month. They currently have their free day and, all of these wonderful activations. So we're just trying to partner with them, have our own activations and partner with conversations of having the riverfront marketplace. So I will share more information as we move forward, but our goal is to really start May 10th is when we're doing our Mother's Day event, as well as they're going to be hosting their Mother's Day event and their second Saturday, but we want everybody to show up for the community. My goal is to flyer and really get that information out there. We've got activations for the families, for senior citizens. We've got music. We've got Latin All-Stars that will be there providing music, as well as our Eduardo has music, live music on your campus as well. So I will be sharing a lot of these details, just so if you can share it with your neighbor, your community member, or any partners that would be interested to celebrate their family. And just come, even though it's Mother's Day, it's celebrating like our household, our families, as well as celebrating Mother Earth. And we will be having a kind of a blessing on that day with dancers, face painters, and a lot of raffles. So we're really excited for family members to come out and community members. So that is something I will share when we follow up.
This coming second Saturday, we're gonna have the Broncos mascot. And I'm also ordering like 400 conchitas from Emmanuel Bakery. So if you like conchas,
Yeah.
those conchas are amazing.
You had it at the anniversary party and they were so good.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the Chicken Burgers of America are also doing a takeover, so it's all their land, so it should be really,
That's
really cool.
amazing. I don't usually like to one up, but on so something will go. But yeah, so it's very important. We really want to make sure that if we're having community members, you know, activated, coming to our space, really, you know, enjoying the day, but we will be serving all ages. It's really important for us to serve senior citizens as well. And so our goal is to have an area that's kind of got tables and chairs set up for them to listen to music and just sit and enjoy their day. Sandra?
Maria, just want to know when it's gonna be the Eduardo's events and your events. If you can share them like flyers or something.
Yeah.
Because she can't see from far. You tampoco.
Yeah,
Even
so-
I have glasses.
I got very lucky. My CSU people were able to make me a flyer. Once they deliver it to me, I'm gonna go spread it throughout the whole neighborhood. It's a flyer with every single day and every single theme.
So, los eventos de CSU son cada segundo sábado del mes.
Y son gratis.
Y son gratis.
Yeah, and Eduardo and I have talked about flyering together. So he'll give you his flyer and I'll give you my flyer on top of it.
The first one is May 10th. May 10th.
Yeah. May 10th is, you know, really exciting just because we are celebrating so many, different platforms, but yeah, thank you. We have our flyer over there, but, also for the raffles and just having us celebrate each other and, having a place to have conversations, you know, talk to each other and just really a day for yourself.
Hey, Lori, is it any truth that they're gonna have Steve there that throw a baseball and if he hit it?
Water,
He
you
gets
know
down.
what? That would be good for the center.
Good fundraiser, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I will share all of this information when we follow up, and those recordings are on the website. I'll follow up with, you know, kind of all of our flyers, all of the details, and all of the other items that we talked about, me sharing with everyone. So, that's,
email or?
yeah, no, so coming soon, so we do have the farm box that we're working with on hopefully getting that activated. And so there's more I've got coming soon because I don't have all the details, but our goal is to really have a space where there could be some training as well as food resources to the community. And that, you know, was here way before me, so I'm just learning about it, but I love the idea of obviously providing food resources to the community. You know, my dream is to feed everybody, and we talk about this in all sorts of ways because it's so important, mostly during our times. And then I already discussed, but our goal is to start having riverfront markets, which our goal is to do hand in hand with CSU Spur, activating the campus. But, you know, our goal is to have activations, music, dancers, and, you know, Latin All-Stars. So, and also have small business partners that have that opportunity to come and sell their items, and also to work in partnership with people on, if they are just starting their business, how can we support them and how can we help them to get them a space where they can come sell their items. So more to come on that, but our goal is to start those services in June. And then one of the things that we've been discussing is having a community dinner. Eduardo and I've been discussing how to make this happen. It would really be something that we would have supportive to the CAC and the members that are very, they're supportive of our initiatives. They're part of the voice that is creating all of these activations and this connection. So our goal is to have that August, September. It would be hosted here. And then, yeah, we're just trying to still tie it all in, but our goal is to have that. It would be in place of our meeting. So it would be a CAC meeting, but we're not having an agenda on that day. We're going to just go ahead and have that conversation and hugs and, you know, eating and, you know, music. So I'm really excited about that. All right, now we'll go to the next one. One of the biggest things that we started was We Don't Waste, providing that food resource to the community as well as those baby essentials. We had our first event on Friday, March 4th. And I tell you what, it was such a wonderful event. They had market style, they had fresh veggies, fruit, they had grains, they had breads, they had all sorts of items, but they walk you through. The volunteers were just so grateful to be part of the space and to be able to provide these food resources and these baby essentials to our community. We were able to serve 204 families, and you know, you've got like 582 adults, 29 seniors, 403 children. You know, what I'm hoping to report next month is really diving in and saying, we are serving X amount of 80216 community members. You know, it's very important for us to serve communities of all areas, but I really do want to dive in and say, you know, are we serving our community? Are we getting this resource? And listening to any other tabling opportunities that we can partner with. So we're really excited about that. The next event is April 4th. I will follow up. We're going to be doing a lot of messaging towards that, but it is April 4th from 11 to 1. We'd like for people to sign up just because it really does save them on waiting for hours, but it also is not needed. You can show up as well, because we know that if you need food resources, we're not going to turn you away. So it's really important for you guys to take advantage and share this resource with your neighbors and anybody. It could be senior citizens if they have opportunities where if you're not able to come get it, We Don't Waste will work with you on delivery at some point. So just share this resource if you can. And it's, you know, such a great resource. So yeah, I just wanted to really touch on that because that's really important. And then for the next slide, Gina here has been wonderful in activating kind of sharing our communication. It's one of the things I hear the most, and we're not going to solve it today or tomorrow or next month, but our goal is to really find one place that we can share the most information. There's so many meetings. We're not going to stop all of the meetings, but we also want to know that you can go to a website and have a lot of information of community partners. So my goal and my mission the next few months is really meeting other partners. You know, I'm slowly getting there, but so we can add them to our newsletters, add them to kind of, hey, let's share that resource. We're all about, you know, even on April or May 10th, we know that there's several events that are happening on that day. Our goal is not to limit services. It's about expanding and extending services in our communities. So it's really important. If you want to add your information to our newsletter, reach out to us. It's on the newsletter that we have right now. Sign up, share it. But yeah, that's my goal. That's my hope, is to really be kind of a portal for a lot of community connection.
Maria has some questions.
Yep.
No, le iba a preguntar que dónde se podía apuntar uno para lo de la comida y eso que están dando, porque yo no, a mí nunca o sea, pues, a nosotros nunca nos han llegado esos anuncios.
Okay, so you're not able to come on that day, is that what I meant?
No,
She didn't have any information
She
about
wants
the
to
reason.
know.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But she's not getting any quotas.
Aquí
you're not-
vivo a 2 cuadras.
I live 2 blocks from here.
Okay.
Y no nos han dado
And she
ninguna
never-
información.
We haven't gotten any information.
Me di cuenta de eso, pero por el Face, porque lo subieron en el Face.
I found out about that, but it was through Facebook because it was posted.
Okay.
Pero nosotros no tenemos nada de información de eso.
But we don't have any information.
¿Qué es su domicilio exacto para,
So we can,
¿Dónde?
qué es su domicilio exacto?
Es 4754, Race,
4754 race.
oh, so you're really close.
no, 4754.
Oh.
4754.
54, 4754 Ray Street.
But you have her email, I mean.
Yeah, so I will be better about sharing emails and flyers, but then also, my goal is to flyer, like, you know, really get the papers.
Yo voy a
out there.
trabajar y hacer esfuerzo para distribuir más los volantes, pero, y los boletines informativos, pero mi meta es ir a volantear.
Sí, porque ya tengo 4 años ahí y nunca nos han informado de
Yeah,
nada.
I've been there for 4 years.
De nada,
We
de nada.
Never found out about any.
Eso ya no va a existir, ¿eh? Ahora sí le vamos a dar todos los éxitos.
That's no longer
Ah,
gonna be that
ok,
way.
ya
I wrote it down myself. I will bring it to you.
Well, yeah, and that's my hope. I will come to you, I will share however it will support anyone. But since this just happened this month, I wanted to know how the program ran before I really start laying it on.
Y esa es mi meta es compartir con todo el mundo y asegurarme de que todo el mundo pueda participar, pero este es el primer mes y quería asegurarme de que todo el mundo supiera para poder compartir más información.
Y yo quería saber más o menos sobre lo del plomo y lo de la tierra de la casa, porque
I'm very interested in finding out about the lead in the soil and
mi hijo y mi nuera que venían aquí a la junta ahorita no han podido venir porque tuvieron a su niña. Y mi nietecita ahorita está teniendo problemas para respirar.
My son and daughter-in-law, they will come to these meetings, but they cannot come right now because their newborn daughter is having respiratory problems. So.
Y nació ella bien. Ella
And she
no
was
tenía
born
problemas,
fine.
más
She
que
didn't have
ahora
any
que llega, pues
problems.
nos la trajimos a la casa.
Once we
Está
brought her to
teniendo
the
problemas.
house, now she's having those problems.
No. Y es lo que quisiera saber sobre eso.
We need to make sure that we have your cell phone number for our text message list.
Yeah.
Tenemos que asegurarnos de que tenemos tu teléfono para que recibas los mensajes por texto.
But she's, I think, you have her information.
We have her
She's
email.
in the task force. So at my house, I never get flyers from anyone. So, and I live on Global. and I kept saying that.
Yeah.
I always get emails, that's how I find out about it. But I don't want to.
It's great.
Yeah.
Fly it.
Laura, do you have other things that you want to raise? Yeah,
Very much.
So the next part is just really, as we gather people's text, so we have that text service, and thank you, Brad, for bringing that up. But we have a text platform, and our goal is to provide communication through this text platform in English and in Spanish. But also, when we get free tickets or free opportunities for the community members, this is how I will be sending this information out. Prior was just sending out emails, but I really do want to focus on all of these free opportunities to be for the community. So we're really, if you start seeing these flyers everywhere, it's only because we really want to make sure that you guys are signed up for that text platform. We have some free programming that's happening in the next month. That's how I've gotten rid of our tickets. And it's asking those questions, you know, where do you live and how can we support you? It does include food vouchers as well as a parking pass if you need it, but the tickets are free to you. And we're also going to be using this moving forward with some communication about events that are happening in the community.
Lori, is it possible, because I saw the newsletter, and I really liked it because it has a lot of information that we didn't see before. Is it possible to share everything that was shared at tonight's meeting, like Armando, all the information, like all the information that we shared tonight?
Yes, I will share
on that newsletter, and then we can share it also. Because we do these meetings and all the information stays in these meetings.
Yeah.
And it will be great to share with everyone that we know. And if you're gonna start doing that newsletter, that I really like that. Because it has a bunch of information from the National Western. It will also be great to have all the other information that everyone shared tonight.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's really important, you know, and that's.
How to consolidate, yeah,
Yeah.
or should be more, maybe we should.
And I think it's a really good mission too. We really are just trying to figure out ways to communicate as much as we can. We're not gonna be able to have one hub, but our goal is to have a lot of, you know, those details so we can send out, but I will follow up after these meetings and add more information that is collected.
Okay, AE, I think you have your hand up,
We got 4 minutes left.
and you have 4 minutes left, Armando says.
Yeah, I want to bring forward an idea that's been kicking around for, I think, 10 years that I've seen it out here, which is there was a hope at one point to do programmable LED event announcement boards in places like Argo Park and over. This is something that we tried to get early on, and we ended up with sort of a tokenistic wooden, never used a tack board over at Argo. There are possibilities and some interest to do programmable LED kiosks that are forward facing. And if there's anybody there from the Environmental Health Community Leadership Workshop, that's the 28th, the location has been moved to Johnson Rec Center from the public library. And I'm on the periphery of that, but maybe somebody else can fill it in. Armando, earlier you made a comment about, we know what the problems are, what are the solutions. This is I think an opportunity to take that specific challenge to where health study's been done and what are the measurables for the impacts of what the implementation's in, because I think that's a really important thing to recognize can be done in measurable ways now. So anyway, if anybody's there that has more details, it's been moved to Johnson Rec Center Friday from 12 to 4.
We have 2 minutes left for any other community updates. We had a lot of great community updates tonight, so thank you everybody for sharing those. And I don't think that you had another slide, did you?
No.
Okay, great. No. Okay, any other comments?
I would add one just to the greener hole here. The We Don't Waste program that's happening here, we've renamed what used to be the Robert Mann Building to the Hub. because that's what we want it to be. We have space here and it's free and we want to make sure folks know that this facility here is open for your use. So just heads up, pass that on.
AE, your hand is still up. Is that from the last one? Thanks, AE. Okay.
I just
All right,
tried to.
anything else? Okay, thank you, dear. Okay, anything else?
I did want to add that up to date, at the beginning of March, we have given out 406 community tickets. 80 of them were for the March powwow. We were excited to be able to partner with the DPS Community Hub in Swansea, and they were able to take 35 family members and enjoy it for the first time. So I will have pictures for next month. They were on spring break, so I wasn't able to collect all of the testimonials and pictures, but you know, this is just the opportunities that National Western Center do offer to the community. And that's why that text platform is so important, because we want to be able to share all of these opportunities that are given and provided. So I just wanted to make sure that, you know, we could all sign up for the text platform.
Okay, we are
up until
through
this
our
segment.
agenda. And before it switches to 7:01, I'll say good night and we'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.